Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Morning Quarterback. Today, we are four pastors who love ministry, leadership, and sports. It's a wild, wild weekend. Patrick coming from his new Yukon. Patrick, you doing all right today?
Yes, sir. Doing excellent.
Nice. John coming from his upstairs thing. John, y'all have a good day at church yesterday?
Yeah, we had a great time. Great in the Lord. Good word. Good singing. Awesome.
Nice. And then Paul is not showing any sympathy for Florida State fans as the fellow Miami fan down the road. Are you, Paul?
I got some sympathy. I've got some sympathy. They did get hosed. I will say that.
Oh, man. Poor Florida State. All right, let's jump into it. We are going to talk all things football because, man, it is a heavy football weekend. College, NFL, and then we'll talk a little bit about ministry and leadership on the back end. Patrick, I'm going to pass it to you first. What was your reaction to the college football playoff? We know we've seen the top four, Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama. There's a lot of outrage across the country. Were you outraged, and did the committee get it right?
They got it right, actually. Here's why. When you look at Alabama, take the second half, and I'm a Tennessee fan, take the second half of the Tennessee game. They've been excellent. I mean, they have proven it. They proved it against the number one team. I think, too, Georgia, made a case, but you got beat by Alabama. And so I look at that. Alabama should be number 4. You look at the other three teams. They're all dominant. They've been playing well. Michigan played that Ohio State team and beat them. I think when you look at FSU, here's the big issue. The big issue is they play in ACC. That's not a strong conference. The second thing is this. They barely beat a Louisville team who got beat by Kentucky, right?
I don't know.
By a pedestrian Kentucky team. I believe they got beat by a pedestrian Kentucky team and then turn around and barely barely get beaten by Florida State. So, yeah, I don't have any sympathy. I mean, if Jordan Travis is in the game, yes, it's a travesty. I mean, if Jordan Travis was there, I honestly think Alabama gets bumped out if Jordan Travis is healthy. But, that's one of the things they take into consideration is who is there. And I'd say this also. Last year as a Tennessee fan, I think had Tennessee somehow got past South Carolina and was one loss with Hendon Hooker out and now Joe Milton, I don't know that they'd have made it. So, I mean, I have sympathy for them, but, I mean, you play better schedules, play better teams. And, the injury bug hit them. And, in my opinion, most of the time, there has to be a lucky game or two for you to get into a national championship and get into play for that. And unfortunately for FSU, they had an unlucky injury bug at the very worst possible time to not only their number 1, but number 2 quarterback. And I think if the number 2 guy would have been in there and they'd have scored maybe 20 or 30 points on Louisville, you could have made an argument. But in the current team that they showed up, for their very last game, you just don't see them being a top 4 team.
All right, there's the SEC representation. John, we know you got ACC in your blood. We heard his orange cutting through there. Tell him why he's wrong.
I just think you got to look at, the whole of the season. If you're taking the last 4 games, it's a really unfortunate thing. So you're riding a wave, but you're not. You have to take the whole body of work. I think FSU did what they were supposed to do. They beat every team on their schedule. There's only a handful of teams that did that all season long. So I think you got to rightly reward them. You got to say, well, I don't think it's going to be a great game later on in the year. I think this is going to be a better competition here or there or whatever. There's no way to tell. There's just no way to tell. What Alabama shows up in the first quarter, their quarterback goes down. All of a sudden, that argument just kind of flies in the face. I think if you're looking at it, if anything, for sure, FSU got hosed. Regardless of what conference they're in, it really doesn't matter. I think really you're kind of looking at, and I'm not even for conference allegiance, right? Like I would have loved UNC to beat the brakes off of them and boot them from there. But the reality is this, it just builds a case for why have we just existed so long
Mhm.
without a regular, like FBS had a regular playoff system. It's always
Yep.
produced some of the best teams in that. It's so foolish that it's just like, hurry up and wait. No, we're going to do this for 5 years. Then we're going to test this for 5 years. Dude, you know what the right thing is. Just do
Yeah,
the right
just
thing.
done.
And NCAA has proved time and time again, the right thing is not on their radar.
Mhm. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, man, I'm with John. I think it's a fair assessment. What's more is, if you're gonna talk about the back half, Patrick, right? And John mentioned this, like, I'm pretty sure there was 30 seconds left and everybody was still wondering if Alabama was gonna win against Auburn.
Yeah.
Right. So
No,
I
I
mean,
agree.
if that's the case, and then on top of that, like, Texas beat Alabama at Alabama. Why are they all of a sudden now in the playoffs? Right? What is it going to turn out to be? Texas, Alabama again? Just like Georgia, Alabama again? Like, it just doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't make any sense. And let's not forget too that FSU was 2-0 without Travis. So it's not like they can't do it. I think, and mind you, I'm a Miami fan. So for all I care, FSU and everything about their program can implode and never exist again. I can care less. But if we're gonna make things fair and we're gonna say, hey, here's an undefeated team that has every right to go in there and use their defense to actually win a game, then let's see that actually happen. If Liberty University, which they are going to get crushed, okay?
Oh, hear that, Adam Denny?
Crushed.
Quote, crushed.
Okay? Crushed by Oregon. If they get their shot against Oregon, then FSU, in my mind, should have their shot against a team that they can go up to play against and then find out if they can make it to the Natty. I mean, it's just weird. Again, like John's point, bro, we need a playoff. We need an actual playoff. This is getting beyond ridiculous. It's about as ridiculous as that who knows where computer for the BCS was that popped out all these
the
ridiculous
codes. That year, Auburn had their second national. They had a good team.
It's worse than AI. It's like, come
here's
on,
what
bro.
here's
like,
what caught them.
What is this?
Here's what caught them, and you're right. They wanted to put in the power brands because let's be honest, like John said, there's politics in it. There's money. You got Texas as a power brand, Alabama's a power brand, and they wanted to put in Texas, but they couldn't put in Texas and not put in Alabama because it's like, okay, well, or vice versa. You can't put in Alabama and leave out Texas because etc. And I think it came down to either do we leave the SEC out or do we not? And I think enough of that committee probably had SEC representation. So John, who do you think it should have been? You think it should have been Michigan, Washington, and then if you're putting FSU in, are you saying Texas, FSU?
I'm saying, yeah, FSU and then Texas. I think that's a fair representation.
Yep, I agree.
Also, this too, as just kind of looking at it, is there's been enough hangovers probably from like when Hawaii got blown out in the national championship game, like why are they here, whatever. But like this is only an issue, right? This is only an issue if FSU beats Georgia. Then you're gonna be looking around like, man, there's some real problems here, right? Like, there's some real problems. So Georgia better suit up because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, it wasn't Georgia, it wasn't Alabama, it should have been FSU the entire time. So we'll see.
And
then the world will implode. Listen. Well, next time we're all in town, I will buy y'all lunch at Wardlaw's Barbecue if FSU beats Georgia. Okay, I'll pay. I won't even put on my church credit card. I will buy it though. It ain't happening. Listen, Texas has one loss, correct?
You said it. You're recording this, right?
Yep.
Yep. Record it. Listen.
Take that, JC Groves, FSU fan. He'll take you out to lunch if y'all win.
Yeah. Listen, we should make that bet because I will take that boy's money. So listen, FSU with Jordan Travis deserves to be in. I don't even think they're a top 10 team. I looked up the score. They gave up. Louisville got beaten by a pedestrian, Kentucky team by a touchdown. And they won them by, 3 points, 6 points versus Louisville. That tells you they're not ready. It tells you they're more like about a top 20 team, not a top 10. Without Travis, I mean, it's just you have to look at what they're going through. I mean,
but the undefeated, man, that's just it undermines the whole thing.
It's hard, but I mean, here's the thing though: put them in an SEC schedule, and they're not going to make it with the two quarterbacks they got behind Travis.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Georgia will probably
They'll
put
route them
30
like
to
they
40
did
points on them.
TCU. Yeah.
They will absolutely route them, and it's going to prove a point that, like, hey, unless you're just dominant in the ACC, then you look at Tennessee last year with their backup quarterback, whooped Clemson all up and down the field in the game. So it wasn't even a close game. And so,
hey, Georgia,
there's
though,
just
we've been telling Georgia, though, when you play cupcakes all year, and then you get in a big game against a real team that's not Missouri, that's what's going to happen. So, Georgia, I don't have any sympathy for them. Hey, let's shift gears. Oh, real quick before we move on. Just your y'all's, I know we got a little bit of time. Let's go around the horn. Who do y'all think makes it to the championship, and what's your early prognostication on who wins, John?
Oh, wow. I'm going to go ahead and put Michigan in there. I think Michigan's going to pull it out. I think they're the best team in it. I think, and people look at stats and other stuff. I think they got the best coach currently. Nick Saban, he's had a, pedestrian last couple of years. So I think he's riding the wave. I think they got a lot of motivation too with the whole Spygate stuff going on. I think it's going to be that they're going to pull it out. I think it's going to be a pretty good game though.
All right, just Patrick and Paul. Just he gave us a good analysis. Just your winners and who you think wins. I'll actually say I think it'll be Michigan. I'll go Washington because Michael Penix Jr. is a stud, and I think this is Michigan's year. Then Harbaugh's going to ride off into the sunset and go to the pros. Patrick, what do you think?
Man, I'm going to be the guy who says I think it will be Alabama and Washington. I think that Michigan played one hard game against Ohio State. I watched Ohio State play some. They're good, not great. Alabama's got a whole week couple of weeks to prepare for them. I think that the Big Ten physically is not what the SEC is. I'm just a big SEC guy. I mean, I think that Alabama's been played a great game against Florida or Georgia. I think that they'll go in. I think that it'll be a close game, but I think Alabama pulls it out. And I say that because Alabama's quarterback play. I don't even know who Michigan's guy is, but he's not great. They've got Blake Corum, but I mean, every team in the SEC knows how to stop the run. And so I think you go in there. I think if Milroe has a decent game, I think they pull it out. And then I think they play Washington. And I will tell you this, I think Washington can beat them because most of the SEC teams' weakness is pass defense. Yeah. And Washington, Penix is ridiculous. I kind of wish the Titans didn't draft Levis because, man, I like that guy.
That's funny. Paul, I'm going to take it. You got Alabama?
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. That's all we needed to know.
Awesome.
Hey, let's shift gears, John, to NFL. Yesterday was a wild day, and we don't have to go through all of it because John's all year long predictions are coming to fruition. The Niners are ruling the roost. They are. But my and our predictions of Dak and his undervaluedness is starting to show, which John wants to see the playoffs, which is a fair thing. So John, they're coming. Let me side note real quick. The Jordan Love experiment is starting to take a turn. We're seeing, man, he had a touchdown. I texted y'all last night. He spun it. I get what they saw. He's got he's got that wow factor with his rocket arm, and he throws off his back foot, and so we see the Chiefs kind of falling. John, why don't you walk us through your top 5 NFL power rankings today? Let's do power rankings first, top 5 teams, and then and then after that we'll talk about MVP. But what the whole thing's been shaken up with the Chiefs losing last night. Who are your top 5 teams you see today?
I'm gonna throw in 3 that I think could all make a play for the number 1 spot in those particular order. I think Miami, San Francisco, and I do think Detroit is finally putting some things together. And so I think they got an easy schedule. They're gonna do well. They're gonna roll into the playoffs. It's not gonna be a problem. But San Francisco, if McCaffrey stays healthy, they're going to be the team to beat. They've been the most consistent, on both sides of the football, and I think that's where even Philadelphia has won some late games and touchdown or less. I think 3 or 4 games. You're looking at Kansas City's dropped some really easy games. The Bills, some of those front runners that we thought. I think this would be the year, and I'm hoping, I guess, that Detroit makes the miracle run. That would be awesome. Outside of that, I know Joseph really wants me to kick in Dallas. It's just too close to the playoffs. I can't do it. I think Philly is still better than Dallas. I know they've not played well, but I still think they're better than Dallas. And I want to see the rise coming up of Jacksonville to continue to skyrocket. We'll see. But they've also got some pretty easy games rolling in. So sorry, I put Dallas at number 6.
Oh, 6. Okay. I'll accept that, and I'll show my objectivity. So I'll go 1, 49ers, 2, Ravens. Ravens have been flying under the radar all year. AFC's kind of wide open. I think they could make a push. Eagles, I'll give them their records, they're a few up on everybody. So I'll go Eagles 3. Then I'll go Cowboys 4. Because let's be honest, the Chiefs are not the same this year. They're not. Mahomes and Kelsey are, but they don't have anybody to throw to. And last night, you can't take a L to a Packers with a rookie quarterback, essentially. So I'll go Niners, Ravens, Eagles, Cowboys, Chiefs, and then Miami. Miami's right there on that fringe.
How dare you?
It depends on who they're playing. If they're on, hey, listen, y'all are like us. Y'all are front runners. If y'all play good teams, you lose. And if you play bad teams, you kill them. Detroit, John, the only thing is they should have lost on Thanksgiving. They really could have lost yesterday. And those are against 2 subpar teams, and they're starting to show some chinks in the armor. So I'll say Dallas is only this high because of Chiefs losing and some of that. But we are coming on at a good time. We'll find out against the Eagles. Either the Eagles, it's all going to catch up with them, and they're beaten and broken down. The thing that helps us is we're on a 14-game home winning streak at home, and we got a little revenge factor going into this week. Here's the interesting thing. If we win Sunday, we're tied with the Eagles for the first in the division. Now, I think they're going to win it because they have an easy schedule here on out. We got to play Miami and Buffalo and Detroit, and so we'll drop some games. So we're sitting in the 5 seed. But I like the resilience that we're showing. Patrick, your Titans stink. So other than that, who's your top 5?
I will go first with the 49ers. And you look at point differentials, top 2 point differentials, 49ers, number 1, Ravens are number 2. So that's who I got, the 49ers, the Ravens. After that, 3, I think you could make a case for really 3 teams. I think you could say the Dolphins, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. I think you make to me, that's the top tier is the Ravens and the 49ers. The next tier would be Dolphins, Cowboys, Eagles, maybe even
Jags.
throw in the Jags. I got home and watched the Kansas City game last night, and I was not impressed with them at all. I think that their lack of wide receivers, even though they have a great quarterback and even a good running back, the Isaiah guy's a great running back, but they don't have defense. And here's the thing about we're finding out that if you only have a league average or worse defense, no matter how good your offense is the most difficult thing to prepare and be consistent every week, even harder than defense, because offense is totally reliant upon what you're doing versus what the other team is doing, where defense is more read and react. You're game planning some, yes, but you're reading and reacting. So I really feel like the guys, the top 2 are the most legit. I'd say this, if I had to go 3, 4, and 5, I'd actually go Cowboys, Dolphins, Eagles. I'm not sold on the Eagles. I'm not sold on the Eagles defense at all. They have such issues in the back end. Thankfully they got Kevin Byard. Maybe he gets a ring with them. I don't think so. I think a lot will be known next week when the Cowboys Eagles play. That'll flip a lot.
Hey, we can all say this, John. I'll say this: the Niners are here. Everybody else is here, and so and they bludgeoned Jacksonville. They bludgeoned the Eagles. They bludgeoned us. So anyway, I think this might be their year. Shanahan, he got there one time and he's had bad luck. But anyway, all right, Paul. Where's Miami stack up?
3.
3. Okay. So you got Niners, Ravens, Miami.
Yeah.
And then who's after that?
After that, I can go with, man, you guys are making a good case. It'd be hard. And I'm not going to say Dallas. I cannot do that. It's
no
just
objectivity.
I don't care. No, I'll go Eagles for Jags 5.
Yeah, I'd say Eagles 3. Yeah, even though they lost yesterday, I still give them 3.
No. I really don't. Y'all are downplaying the offensive weapons that Miami actually has.
No, they do.
I get it that they played against the Commanders, but they are no joke, bro.
It's just how the Chiefs just dismantled them.
They played in Germany. That game doesn't even count, bro. Get out of here, bro. That game doesn't even count, bro.
Not in America.
I don't count that game.
Oh
Huh?
gosh.
Here's my pushback on Baltimore. Just because if Lamar gets injured, it's all to piece.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they're playing the Rams, not a bad team, 500. They're playing the Jaguars right after that, 8-3. They play the 49ers at 9-3. They play the Dolphins, and then they play the mediocre Steelers. So
Baltimore plays the Niners.
Yeah.
Woo! That's a big game, man.
So that's what I'm saying. I just feel like they might get 2 to 3 more wins out of that if things go well.
Yeah. So who's your second team in the NFL then? Who's if it's clear the Niners, who's number 2?
I think it's Miami.
Okay.
I think the running back coming back healthy is a game changer, man. We just don't know how big of a game changer that is. He was out for like 5 or so games, and they came back and automatically put up 130 yards.
So and then Tyreek's a cheat code. It's not even fair when he's out there. It's just absolutely.
So in good conscience, though, John, in good conscience, if you're putting Miami number 2, Dallas is at least in your top 5. You just don't want to publicly say it.
I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
All right, let's shift gears. See if I can get you.
Maybe in a week or two.
Let's see if I can get you here, John.
I will say this, Ron, before you go. We'll see if what you're saying, John, and maybe this might be true. Who knows? I don't know. The Dolphins will play the Ravens. We'll see how that goes.
They play Dallas in 2 weeks too, Paul. You better buckle up. Michael Parsons is going to put Tua out.
Well, they're going to have to. Jerry Jones is going to have to leave, the stadium in tears because you guys are not winning that game.
All right. Well, y'all are lucky it's in Miami. All right, John, let's see if I can get you here. Right now, today, who are your top 3? Don't have to be in any order. Who are your top 3 candidates for league MVP?
All right. Well, I'm gonna put McCaffrey up there just because he's got 150 more yards rushing than any other running back.
Okay.
13 more carries. He's got 12 rushing touchdowns. The next person behind him's 8 rushing touchdowns. Here's the thing. I think he deserves it. Do I think it's going to happen in a pass-happy league? Absolutely not. I think in the next 3 games, C.J. Stroud's going to make a case. I think he's going to make a case. I really put him up there. I think he's got some really incredible pathways forward. And then I think Tua. He's playing out of his mind right now, and Tyreek Hill's not going anywhere. Yeah, honestly, all he has to do is take 3 steps back, throw the ball 40 yards. It's going to be a touchdown. It's like watching Madden.
Yep.
Happened twice yesterday. Just saying.
Yep. My only pushback with Miami is they're such a finesse team that if they get against the 49ers or Ravens or what that's just ground and pound, it throws them off. And similar to the Cowboys, we're front runners. Y'all are front runners too. And if we can get out front early. All right, I'll say Stroud. Right now, Stroud. If they make it to the playoffs, Stroud's your MVP. Stroud, Lamar, and Dak. He has put together I think they finally fine-tuned the offense where you're not asking him to be Mahomes, and but he's also showing he's not an accident waiting to happen on interceptions. That was an anomaly. And so he's playing within himself. He's finally, this is year 8. He's at the top of the peak of his powers. He's seeing the field. Now we'll see. I think Eagles, he tore him up last time, so I expect this to be a high-scoring game. He's only lost 1 time against the Eagles, I think, in his whole career. So I'd say Stroud, Lamar, and Dak. And Lamar, he carries so much of the offense that he's got to be with as good as they're playing. Patrick, who you got?
I like Stroud. I'm going to throw a wild card in there at you guys, though. Brock Purdy.
Oh.
Brock Purdy is only 400 yards behind Stroud. He's got 70% completion, 23 touchdown to 6 interceptions, and the 9.5 yard per an average throw. That's tough to come by. That's big. I didn't know that, so I looked up those stats. But I like Stroud. I like Purdy. I think after that, obviously we talked about Lamar and what he means to, one of the best record teams. I think Lamar after that.
If I put you behind a ready-made car with a souped-up horsepower and I just said, Patrick, don't drive it off the road, you could do pretty successful at that.
You'd have the Dallas Cowboys. That's what you would have. That's exactly what situation Dak's in.
Paul, who's your MVP?
Tua.
Tua, I'm happy
Tua.
Tua finally got his flowers. A
He's-
lot of people should apologize to him, but they're too prideful and
Yeah.
they'll.
I'm just saying he's leading the league right now. I don't know what else to tell you.
And he's healthy.
And he's healthy and he's leading the league in QBR, in yards. Well, I don't. I mean, if you're going to start, John's saying it's a pass happy league, right? Well, I mean, he's your case.
Yeah. The only thing that hurts Tua and Dak is they've lost against the best teams they've played. So if he can eke out a win against Baltimore or Dallas, or that would help his case. And y'all got to
win.
eke out a win against a good team. Eke in against a good team. If you look at the resume, I mean, same thing with us. We beat bottom feeders, you know. So we got to win the tough games. And you guys got to have home field advantage. If y'all go on the road in a cold weather game, I just don't see that offense traveling. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, hey, let's shift gears to ministry and leadership. And today, let's talk as we near the end of the year. John had a good idea of just talking highs, lows, and hardships in a ministry year. And y'all know, I explain to people that people don't always perceive or know how to perceive ministry and pastoring. And there's times when it's full throttle, pedal to the metal. John, you were talking about, he's like, hey, I didn't preach Sunday, but I'm going until April. And, you know, all the hours and work that comes into, which each of you guys weekly, daily get calls off the clock. And that comes with ebbs and flows and high seasons and low seasons. And people don't always see that. And so, John, why don't you start it off and we'll just kind of organically pass it around. But just a recap of your year, ministerially speaking at your church, what are some highs and hardships?
Yeah, I'm in year 3, lead pastor. So I think there's some continuity. There's some growing expectations. You're starting to see the staff come together, unify, grow in common direction and things. And so that's been incredible to see. God's been faithful in that. It's been a lot of fun. We've baptized too this Sunday, and so obviously that's a high point that we've had people get baptized, and a lot of people that are new to the faith come to our church, coming to faith in our church, things like that. That's been incredible. On the hardship side, there's been some difficulty. We've had staff transition, which is hard. It's always hard. And so you're looking at that, you're kind of wondering how everything's going to play out and what all is going to happen through that. But trust in the Lord's sovereignty. He's ordained these things. He's bringing them to pass. And so we're thankful for that. And honestly, our church is just in the last, month, we've had 5 or 6 funerals. And so it's always a hard season when you go through and, we've seen some people pass that have fought against cancer and some other things. And then we saw a guy that's my age pass away and leave behind a family, which is difficult and a ministry opportunity in and of itself. And so those are always hardships there, but it seems here in the last month, it's been turned up quite a bit. And so I'm just, praying the Lord and his great provision will use those opportunities as gospel proclaimers.
Mm-hmm. John, what about on the personal pastoral side, or the Christian? A lot of times people, we try to differentiate pastor and child of God, and also leader. Like, what do you, learning personal? Sometimes the stuff that we experience in ministry bleeds into our life and our development and our walk. Any thoughts on that side?
Yeah, I think for me personally, with a shift in staff at our church, I've picked up a good number of responsibilities, some heavy ones, some ones that take time. And what I've found is I need to be and put intentional effort towards being more rested and finding gaps for rest. I will say the last 6 months, there hasn't been as much rest as there should have been and needs to be in my own life. And we have those seasons, things change. And so you kind of hold the pieces until you can hand them back away. And so, obviously that's been a difficulty, but even in that, just trying to slow down and find joy in the present and looking for opportunities to give God praise and to be mindful that nobody's the Messiah except for Jesus Christ. And so the Lord's good to give us opportunities to be reminded of that.
It's good. Paul, what about you ministerially, personally? What resonates in your season of life?
Yeah. So I think, we went into the year coming off of what was a pretty hard season of not having a senior pastor for nearly 2 years. And so that, that was definitely hard. And so you go into this new year and certainly things are very different because, come January to be a year that Curtis has been here. So that's been great. I think through that, there was a lot of things that were challenging to have to deal with in an absence of a senior pastor, while at the same time pretty refining. Things that you learn all about, yourself, and things that you learned about how to depend upon, what scripture actually does say to be able to continue to help see a church flourish and be built healthy. So it was shaping while at the same time hard. I think one of the biggest highlights that we can think of for this year is 5 years in, the Lord's been really good to be able to not only sustain North Georgia, bring people to North Georgia, but now we can look back and trace his faithfulness to provide. And 5 years in, we're debt free at North Georgia, which is a huge testimony to his goodness, man. So it's been a really good year to be able to celebrate a 5-year anniversary and know that that's in the rearview mirror. So those have been two things ministerially that have been really part shaping and then part just huge blessing from the Lord. And then personally, man, like it's just been really kind of neat for me to be able to see, God continue to shape things in my life that I need to learn. And I'm thankful for pace setters in my life. There's always people ahead of you that you want to try to like reach out for, and then people next to you that kind of keep you in pace and keep you going. And Pastor Curtis, I think, has been one of those pace setters this year that has been a personal blessing in my life to be able to shape more of how I need to care well for people. He really does have a great shepherd's heart, and names matter to him. People matter to him. Lists of names matter to him. And so it's been awesome. Like to Brainerd this year, we've added over 100 members. We've seen nearly 50 baptisms, which have been fantastic all across our campuses. Like it's been a real encouragement to see that caring for people well really pays dividends, because it's part of what our pastoral duties are. And so just a real shaping of my heart to say, hey, you gotta lead people well. You got to shepherd people well, like Eric said last week, and feed them well.
It's good. Patrick?
Well, I think going into this last year, we knew we were in a time of transition at First Baptist, and just kind of going through that, I learned a lot. I think one of the cool things is I learned time management between master's degree, full-time job, running a nonprofit, and then the duties picked up with the absence of a senior pastor at the time. I learned time management. It's been kind of really cool because we talk about rest, but one of the secrets to rest is really managing your time well so that there is an increased margin. And I think that that's what the Lord has taught me, is to really order. Moses says in Psalm 92 or 90:12, teach us a number of days we may gain a heart of wisdom. And really, he showed me in this year how to be more wise with my time. And by being more wise and really just planning my week out with margin, I've learned how to get more done and still be rested. Yes, there was definitely a season. This probably from like September, when I took actually 12 hours of classes, along with everything else. And then, kind of hitting into a high season of ministry with a new pastor, that stretched me too far. But also it reminded me that, like, hey, I'm human, and Jesus, he is a superhero. And my job just to walk in the things he's put before me. And I think one of the coolest things is we're kind of really past COVID. And so getting my students this year to really serve and have these opportunities for them to serve. We're taking a mission trip in a week to South Dakota when they're on their winter break. Summer mission trip, worked with church planners in North Carolina. I think we laid 6 tons of mulch in the community, and we served over 1,000 meals in the community. And then we had 16 baptisms this year in just students. And so, like, those are all just God being faithful, but, just wins. I mean, these kids are growing. I've had another student surrender to ministry and is going to be plugged in and starting college next fall and doing ministry. Both want to do music and possibly youth ministry. So I'm like, bro, come on up, man. You can be my replacement one day.
Yep. It's funny. We didn't really talk about the the concept of transitions, but each of us, it's a part of church world. Each of our churches have gone through a transition, and I think one of the things that going through transition that I came back to personally, then ministerially, is back to the basics, and that's why it's so important to have the right mission, vision, values, and alignment. And sometimes it's not the new cutting edge idea; it's just the Matthew 28, love the Lord your God with all your heart, and honing in and leaning into that. And personally speaking, I think sometimes we can get caught up in all the latest and greatest, and I think sometimes we can undersell, like you're saying, the power of consistency, of just showing up every day. It's not about showing up, hitting the highs, but man, just showing up every day. The Lord has gotten on me to do that, not just mentally but physically, of health, and when we talk about long ministry shelf life, being healthy, and that's something that I maybe have put on the back burner in the past, that I'm trying to just have better, little things, going to bed on time. And because we'll sit there and text or read or write and just have a little bit more structure. Ministerially speaking, though, part of back to the basics, my word for this year has just been assimilation. Assimilation is beautiful in the fact that you get to know people. You get to, like, my favorite thing, I think, and one of my favorite things in church is finding a new family that you can tell is just thirsty and craving and desiring community, and then helping them find it, or them having a gift and then getting them in a spot to use it. But assimilation takes work. It takes effort. It takes showing up every day. It takes consistency. It's a lot of, sometimes you pour time into people and it doesn't pan out, and then you got to just keep going. And so we've started to see growth, just getting back to the basics of just showing up and being consistent. And kind of what Patrick was saying too, I think over the past 6 months to a year, we've had 6 of our young adults in our young adult ministry surrender to some type of part-time or full-time vocational ministry call. And so I love that. We had Scott Pace and Shane Pruitt on calling out the called, that whole concept. I've really noticed, just as we have brought in the next generation of interns or residents or whatever you call it, it just breathes life into the church. It brings freshness, new vision, excitement. And it just, and churches that do it well, think back to some of the churches in our area, they plant and harvest the next generation of ministers, so that when the time, the succession of whatever ministry comes up, that next batch is ready. And so that's a philosophical thing that I'm trying to wire in how I do everything I do. Let me try and take somebody with me. Let me coach them up a little bit. Let me, don't just hog it all to myself. And so those would be some highs and lows. We'll end on this thought. Patrick, I'll start with you. Going into next year, and we can keep these short. What's a personal goal or something that you aspire to? And then something ministerially that you would like to see maybe your church or a ministry or something achieve, or a big picture thing that you're going to try to, hey, next year we're going to try to focus in and maybe excel or grow in this. And then personally, what would you say?
Goal is finish the degree and then rest a little bit next summer. Then I think ministerially, I think it's just continue to create leaders. And when I think what you hit on is every church needs to be a sending church.
Yeah.
What does that mean? It means you're raising up the next generation of leaders, whether they stay and serve your church, whether you send them to the mission field, or they get called to another church locally. Our job is to be sending churches. I think that's the biggest thing in student ministry. That's the reason why I still do it. I mean, is because there is such an opportunity for relationships and to see families come in, assimilate them, raise up leaders, and then watch these families change and grow. And it's such a blessing. And then to see how God is just at work in these students' lives patiently, and watching them be faithful. And the faithfulness is the fruitfulness. And that's one of the things I remind our students all the time is be faithful. It's not about, the big high moments of camp or a mission trip, but it's about what is God doing day to day in your life, because he is building towards those higher moments. As one day when you're maybe a minister, one day you're a, godly teacher or Sunday school teacher or a godly wife or husband. My job is not to prepare them for the teen years. They're already there. My job is to help them navigate the teen years with the focus in on who are they going to be 5 and 10 years from now. And that's the thing I keep on the forefront of the students is you're building who you are in your 20s and 30s today.
Mm-hmm. It's good. Paul, what you think?
I think that's great. Everything that Patrick's saying, man, that's awesome. I love that idea of sending. We deploy. So I'm right there with you, man. I think for me, where North Georgia's at. You know, we're kind of moving past that toddler phase and we're in the adolescent stage, you know, and so we're growing. And then by default, we know that there are kids that are going to be moving and transitioning into students. And I mean, there's just a lot of pieces that are going to be unfolding now. And I think for me, what that eventually means is that we got to be a lot more strategic with what we need to plan for the next 3 to 5 years, which means I need to be a lot more decisive with what I need to be doing. So in my area of what I love to do, which is just preach, I need to be a little bit more focused in my leadership side to make sure that I'm being very strategic, not alone. I'll do that in effort with teams and with people and with leaders, right? But with that, somebody has to kind of lead the pace and vision casting, and then at the same time being decisive with what needs to happen next through great prayer, obviously, and, you know, consulting and thinking and all the rest of that stuff. But I would sum it down to those two things, you know, strategy and decision making.
That's good. John?
Yeah, I had a little bit of time to think about this, and I'm torn through a couple different things. One is the chance to be able to just reflect on the goodness of God, to be present. I think that's one of my ambitions for 2024 is to, and I mean, be present, not that I'm absent at home or absent at work, but to enjoy where the Lord has me in the present and not be thinking ahead and, you know, or looking back or any of those things. I think it's easy when you first get in a couple years in ministry, you got dreams, plans, visions, and God's shifting those things all the time, resetting the goalpost on some things and kind of giving elongation and joy in some other things. But I think part of that is just being present and enjoying what the Lord has and relying on him, leaning into him. For sure, there'll be some tough decisions we have to make coming up. And so we're just trusting God's provision, his purpose, his plans, and realizing that eternity is a long time to set just a month out goals. And so lean into that. Things will be really fruitful. And for our church, I think to help people fall more in love with their local body, you know, to really help them enjoy and love one another, not just love the pastors or the people that are easy to love, but to love each and every one of them, take a personal responsibility for the faithfulness of one another. And I start to see that blossoming, and I'm just trusting and praying that God will continue to bear fruit in and through that, because I think a church that loves well, cares for one another well, reaches well. And so I think those things are going to continue to grow in posture and place in our church. And so I'm praying that that'll bear some incredible fruit evangelistically in due season.
Wrapping us up, I would say just refinement across the board. You know, man, the quiet time I feel like is such a good barometer of life. Your good times, your good seasons, your bad seasons, your stale seasons, and so just that constant, you know, just refining and protecting. While, you know, other things may be maybe shifting, just letting that be the constant and trying to always keep that time with the Lord close, because it's easy just to miss that or even do it but go through the motions and not keep it genuine or intimate. So I would say grow in intimacy. And then ministerially, I feel like we've been building for for a lot of years, and now, you know, we're at the stage where I think it's time to you know, obviously once transitions are set, then go into a season of the harvest. Say, okay, you know, we've worked on our building, we've worked on our assimilation, we've worked on our teams, we've worked on our groups, we've worked on our ministry, mission, vision, values, alignment. Now let's be intentional about doing the Great Commission and training our people to not just invite people to church. I hate when people say evangelism, just get them here. And like, no, that's a byproduct of it. But at the end of the day, training our people to go do life on mission, sharing the gospel. And as they're doing that, using the church as a place to preach and reach people, and then help disciple them up and go through a season of growth. So anyway, it's good to hear. We'll be watching the football season. Patrick, thanks for jumping on today. It'll be interesting to watch next week as Dallas and Eagles come head to head. We'll definitely talk about that one. See y'all later. Have a good day.